Hey YouTube, Vermont Prepper. Pretty cool project we got going on with the M1028 today. What you see here is a better built combo toolbox slash diesel fuel tank, a transfer tank. And we're going to be installing this in the truck today. So stay tuned. Welcome to my world. We're going to talk mainly about military vehicles, solar power, and self-sufficiency. But I also like to live life to its fullest potential. I do this through music. Specifically, I'm a drummer. Music runs through my veins, and I'm also going to discuss the various equipment I use and throw in a few covers. Hope you enjoy. Welcome to the channel. I think the first question on everybody's mind is going to be, why am I reducing my truck bed capacity to put this transfer tank in? And the answer to that is very simple. I drove back from Ohio after getting the engine turboed, and I quickly realized that 20-gallon tank capacity that this truck has is not enough. You know, I went down some back roads where there's no cell phone coverage, and I ran pretty close to empty a number of times, and I labored back and forth on what I was going to do because I need more capacity to carry stuff. So you know, this toolbox is full, so I needed to research and figure out what I wanted to do, whether I wanted to get a full-length truck bed box which would carry a bunch of tools, and it's about 14 inches high, and you know, it would reduce my depth of the bed, but it really wouldn't reduce the length of it. And I figured, well, you know, 14 inches really isn't that high, because the inside diameter of some of these truck boxes are pretty low, 10 inches. So that wouldn't work, and that wouldn't solve the fuel capacity issue. So the best thing I came up with after a number of hours of research is this better built heavy-duty toolbox transfer tank combo. And this solves both problems. Well, at least partially solves both problems. The first problem being fuel tank capacity. So this thing is an extra 62 gallons of fuel, which is great. So this is another, I'd have a total of 80 gallons of fuel, which would give me probably close to 1,000 miles range on this thing. So I would never have to worry about running out of gas, especially if I'm pulling, you know, something like this, which is probably about 4,000 or 5,000 pounds in itself. And if you're pulling that up and down hills, that's going to significantly reduce capacity. So this better built was actually local here in the Tractor Supply, and I got to take a look at it hands-on, which is very rare in Vermont. Nobody has stock on anything, but this Tractor Supply locally here had it. So I took a look at it, and the measurements seem to fit. It's 48 inches wide, which is just a little bit less than the wheel well distance, so it fits nicely there. The only thing that I had to do is I moved the ears here, the mounting brackets. These two in the back were the ones that I had to move. They were stuck out on the side, and that wouldn't have fit really good. I would have had to push this all the way back, and it would have stopped me having access to the key there for the toolbox in the front of the truck. So I have a little bit of room here, and I have about 30 more inches of bed capacity. And I was researching, I can actually put a 24-inch toolbox right here, one of those truck bed boxes, and it wouldn't reduce my bed capacity all that much more. So this better built box will give me this much extra capacity as far as carrying things, and my eventual goal really is to put a inverter, which I already have inside that toolbox, along with onboard air compression. So like I said, I already have the inverter. I just need to get the compressor, and then I'll just move some of the stuff from this box into here. And then on this side, which is really nice, it's a lockable fuel tank system here. So here's where you would put your pump, and we'll go through all of that. And here's where you fill it up. And it's all lockable. Everything's self-contained. A lot of them you see the pump sticking up outside of the tank on the external portion of the transfer tank. And I always thought, well, it'd be easy to really steal gas if somebody really wanted to. So this is going to make it a little difficult. I'm sure somebody with determination could get in, but it'll be harder. So that's what we're going to do. I think I measured properly as far as where I need to drill, and I don't think anything's going to be in the way. So let's get that going. Alright, so what you have here are bushings, and there's 4 of them. 4 of these bushings with the bolts. And these bushings go in the holes. And you could do either outer or inner hole. I'm going to choose to do inner. And it's a 1/2 inch bit that I have to drill through the bed. And they'll bolt to the bottom and to the top. And these compress, and this, I guess it'll stop, you know, any kind of major shocks or whatever. These are urethane bushings right here. So I'm going to get those marked and drilled, and then we'll go underneath the truck and bolt them on. Okay, you see I have the holes drilled and the bolts with bushings in there. All I have to do is tighten them down, and that'll be it as far as mounting the toolbox. And then got to hook up the pump. We're all bolted down. All 4 bolts. I don't need to show you the other side, you get the idea. And now we're putting in the pump. So I had to put this mount in there, and I use the yellow pipe tape, and that's supposedly good for petroleum. At least that's what Home Depot says. And then I'm going to put the suction tube into the actual pump right there, and then screw the pump onto the collar right there, and we should be all set. And then I have to run the wire through that hole right there down to the battery, direct to the battery. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come out of that hole and probably do a 3/4 to 1 inch hole in the bed right there, and it'll help with drainage as well. And then I'll run it underneath the bed and along the frame up to the battery. And it's a 12-volt system. They do sell 24-volt. They just didn't have any in stock, but 12 volts should be fine. I mean, 24 volts would have been optimum because I have the hookup for it. It'll take half the current, but 12 volt will work just as well. I thought I was going to get away with out customizing something, but wasn't meant to be. Apparently this suction pipe is too long for the tank. The tank is only 12 inches deep, and the suction pipe is 15 inches. And even with the adapter on there, it's still not enough, or it's still too much actually. So I have to cut 1 3/4 inches off of here. I'll probably just take this telescoping tube off and just use this right here, and maybe I'll try and notch it as well. So let's see what happens. Alright, here's my creation there. I made it out of the telescoping tube, and I just basically did it with a sawzall and some pliers to make the notches. So will it work? I think so. Is it as pretty? No, but it's inside the tank. Here's the pump installed, and plenty of room in there, so you keep your hose in there. You got your wiring over there that has to go through that hole on the side right there. And that's the last thing. Just wire it direct to the battery. It's pretty easy. The hardest part will be drilling a hole in the bed, but I've done plenty of those for this, so it shouldn't be that big of a deal. Alright, we're all wired up, and what I did is I took the wire and I put a grommet right there in the bed of the truck, and then ran it along the frame to the two sides of the battery terminal. The front battery terminal, since this is a 24-volt system, you wire it to the positive and negative of the front battery terminal to get 12 volts. A lot of people don't know that, but you can do that with 24-volt system. So basically the way this thing works is you take the pump out, and then there's a little lever. This lever right here, you got to move it this way and you'll hear it turn on. And it's priming. And then now I'm going to go and put some gas in the tank so that you can see it. Alright, we reached the tank no problem, which is great. I'm just going to put a little in there because I already filled the tank. I'll let you see it. It's primed up a little bit, and there it goes. Hopefully you can see that. Nice diesel fuel coming out. Alright, we're all set. Basically, I tested this out as far as the reserve, and I put a 5-gallon tank of gas in here before I started it, before I filled it up. And I actually went to the gas station and filled the whole thing up, and with the 5 gallons I was able to put in another 62 gallons. So and with that 5 gallons, before I filled it up again, I tested it to see how far down it would go, because you see how wide of a tank it is. I wanted to see how many gallons I would have left after the suction stopped working. So it looked like there was about 3 gallons, 3.5 gallons left in the tank when the suction stopped. So that tells me that I have a 5-gallon reserve plus the 62 gallons that I filled up. That's 67 gallons. So my suction will go into the reserve tank, and I'll have about 3.5 gallons of reserve. So all in all, a pretty good project. Wasn't very hard. The hardest thing was drilling the holes, really, and getting underneath the truck and tightening it up. Again, all by yourself. You gotta, you know, cinch down the top part with a vice grip so that it doesn't turn. But it wasn't very hard at all, and it worked really well. So that's about it. And now I have some room to put, I'll probably put some recovery gear in my big ratchet set in that front area there, because I use that ratchet set quite a bit. Alright everyone, hope you got something out of this. This is a nice project, and now I have a total of roughly 82 gallons, 82 to 85 gallons of range. So it's a good thing. Could probably go all the way down the East Coast, or at least most of the way. Thanks for watching, everybody. Take care. Vermont Prepper out, and as always, keep prepping.